How is it going to be different in the means of adoption and what's being done right now about real-time fraud? So what we're seeing right now is that there's an emphasis on request for payment, and some people may know it as RFP. What I see that as is it opens up the doors for merchants and peer-to-peer adoption. What does that mean to the market though? If you have merchant and you have peer-to-peer adoption, there becomes pressure on the FIs to adopt that method of payment. Accessibility to the payment type is important when we're talking about schemes like this. In what I like to put is it takes two to tango. So any FI that's trying to send out a payment without the recipient having enabled that payment type, it doesn't work. So without full adoption on both sides of it, that transaction just won't work. We're looking at it from a perspective that we need APIs, we need simplified integrations. Simplified integrations meaning, can this work for both TCH and FedNow, potentially even Zelle or any other instant type of payments? So ease of adoption is very important here. Secondly, what we were talking about earlier was how do we address fraud? So FedNow has already addressed fraud in negative lists, and they're already tracking reported accounts of fraud that are happening. So fraud is definitely top of mind. We're hearing it all day long. How do I stop fraud? And to our clients, we already have tools. We already have PRM. It's a great tool that does velocity, understands who the sender is, who the receiver is. It also looks at the location of the person, what their behaviors are. It takes the AI and ML into account. And while we're looking at that from a perspective of maybe legacy times, today request for payment being the most important is also the scariest. So here's one example. Aunt May. To you, she's your aunt. To somebody else, this is an imposter. This may be a fraudster. Aunt May is currently in Cancun, which she may not be, and she's sending out a request for hundreds of people in her phone book asking for money. This is what we consider an inbound request for payment, something that most organizations don't even look at. They're looking at the outbound transactions. In this case, we're talking about an inbound request for payment that's happening. And if I were to get a request for Aunt May, she told me she doesn't have her phone, she has this email, she can get into her bank account and she can send a request. I can't get in contact with her. Do I send her the money? Probably. I would have sent her the $10 that she requested. That's fraudulent. So now we have to look at the transaction from both the inbound and the outbound perspective.